So,
What's up?
for the end of 2023, we had to finally get a real ninja in the dojo. All right.
Ninja.
I've been chasing this man down for literal years. Okay. Finally got him. And he's here now. Right. Now, this is the only person that I know on screen that has fought Foot Soldiers, The Rock, The Shredder twice, and strangely enough, Don Cheadle. That's a crazy lineup. It's cool though. Because we got a real legend, one of my childhood icons in the dojo right now. We have a martial artist, a director, an actor, surfer, pizza delivery guy, a father. We have Ernie Reyes Jr. in the motherfucking dojo. Mr. Reyes, how are you? How are things?
I'm doing good, man. That's what's up. Yeah, I appreciate it. You know, it's been a while. I know you've been on my line for a minute, and there's been a few times that I had promised I was going to be there, and shit just came up. So, you know, I appreciate your persistence, and I was like, damn, I got it, because I know I've been like, for the last few times, hit or miss. I was like, I have to do this podcast with these dudes. It's going to be weighing on my mind. So I'm glad it happened. So
Now, I feel you, because like the fact that I DM'd you and you answered me, I'm like, all right, so he's cool enough to answer his DM. So I'm like, maybe I could get him on the show. But then when I kept getting rejected, I was like, normally I don't text men that many times, but it was like, you know what? I really like this guy. So I'm like, I'm going to keep trying. And, you know, persistence pays off.
Yeah. And it wasn't really even like, you know, rejection so much as just everything going on, you know, and it's just like trying to find the time, and you know what it is. So
Yeah, I get you, man. You busy, man. You doing a lot, man. So, you know, we're going to talk about a little bit of, we're going to talk about the past a little bit. You know, we're going to try to get as much as we can. How long do we have you for? Like maybe like a half hour?
yeah, that's good. Something like around there.
Okay, that works.
Yeah, they'll cut us off anyway. So.
Oh yeah, Zoom be acting up.
Yeah.
But
Thank you very much.
But first and foremost, how are you? How's your health? How are the holidays treating you so far?
Yeah, man, it's everything's great. You know, see, December 14th, which is just, I think, you know what, 4 days ago, was like a year anniversary that I had a kidney transplant. You know, so I was on dialysis for about 7 years, basically.
Okay.
And then that was a pretty crazy grind. It was, you know, pretty much Friday thing. So last Christmas was like the greatest Christmas gift ever. I was like, damn, I have a kidney transplant. That my life is like, you know, I have an opportunity to basically live a normal life again, versus before it was like, well, I could only do this and I can only do that, and I got to schedule everything around doing this medical, you know, procedure. So yeah, it's been 1 year. I feel great. A lot has happened in just 1 year's time, you know, and I'm really just super grateful. I mean, it sounds like kind of cliche, but you know, when you kind of walk up to the line where you're like, damn, like one more step and I could just not be here, you know, when you come back from that, you know, you kind of view things a little bit differently than you do, you know, prior to that. And so I'm just grateful to be alive, do my thing, constantly, you know, grinding and, you know, just fighting for my dreams like I have been since I was a kid.
Okay. Now, how did that affect your mental state, you know, being able, well, with the problem of having, you know, to slow you down and you not being able to do things that you've been doing your entire life?
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of good things that came out of that, because your whole reality gets checked, you know, and then things become real.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, none of the things that you're really worrying about or stressing about, none of those things matter anymore. Now you got this other thing that's just overriding everything. So your career or your finances or your whatever don't mean anything. You're just like, okay, I could just either not be here or be here. And I have kids and I have a family and I have a lot of things to do still. So I'm not trying to be out right at this particular point.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, I don't know how I got on that, but anyway, bottom line is, yeah, it's all good.
How we get here? I don't know.
Now, you've been doing martial arts since a baby, right? Now, is it
something? Oh, no, affecting your mindset. Hang on one second.
No, keep going. No.
Yeah, so it's like, the training, martial arts training, I've been doing that since I was a kid, And then when you get into scenarios that are like that, you really realize what your martial arts training, the value of it. Because even while I was doing dialysis, and I was limited in a way, my mindset wasn't that. It was just, how can I do what I can do, fully being held back. It was never kind of like I wouldn't say never. You get to a point where you feel like giving up and all those things, but I'm just not like that. If it's fight or flight, I'm just going to pick fight.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's just going to be my natural instinct is it's a challenge, then I'm just going to lean into it. You know what I'm saying? And so the martial arts training or whatever really affected me because I felt like, I was able to basically deal with what I had to deal with and then still continue to fight out in life, doing what I to do to take care of my family or do whatever I need to do, even pursue my dreams, be creative, whatever it is, like that didn't stop me. Whereas I know for a lot of people, you get into that situation and then you're sitting in a chair and then everyone around you looks like they're pretty much on their last legs. It's real easy to just get into a really negative, dark mindset, And so I had no choice. I had no choice other than to just that's just not how I am. You know what I'm saying? So I just had to be positive in a scenario where it really tests. Are you just saying that? Or can you really do that when you're under pressure, like real pressure, like life and death pressure? Can you still maintain a certain kind of mindset? And so that's where the value of all my martial arts training really came in, because I was able to keep everything moving to the best of my ability without just crumbling. You know what I'm saying? And so that affected my mindset too. When you're here, now you're facing challenges. You're like, man, I've already been through all the way up to the edge, now still get stressed, still worried about this and that and all the things, but you don't really respond to it the same way that you did beforehand. When you knew like, hey, there can be other real problems than what's the next movie you're making. You see what I'm saying? So it affected my mindset in a positive way and just basically strengthened whatever it was that I thought beforehand. I feel like I can double down on that. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, this is the mindset that gets you through the real battles of life. And that's like a martial arts mindset.
Right. Well, I'm glad you're feeling better, man. You look good, man. Them fucking kicks look like they still hurt.
Yeah, I'm still keeping it sharp.
So now you've been doing martial arts since a child. Now, was that something that your dad made you do or got you into, or did you see Pops doing it and be like, I want to be like him?
It was a combination really of both. It was probably initially, I want to do that too. And then it's like, but once you sign up for the lifestyle, it's like, that's like, you don't realize what you're really signing up for, when you sign up for it until you get deep into it. Then it's like, dang, this is all we do, And so there was a lot of sacrifices along the way as a kid when everybody else was playing or doing this or doing that, when I was like in the dojo, just training. And that was just basically my life. So, I definitely was into it because Bruce Lee was my hero and all that. So I was into it. And then I was like, and now my dad, like we're the real thing. It's not just like we're watching movies, but we also train every day, all day. And we're getting to live the life, you know what I'm saying,
Mm.
of martial artists. So I was all for it. But at the same time, you're still a kid and you want to, you know, do this and do that. And it's
Be a
like,
kid,
well,
yeah.
we don't have time for that.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? We only have time for martial arts. So that's what it was, you know, but that's also as I, you know, got older and I look back and you go, okay, but now I know how you got the results you got
Mm.
was because you had to sacrifice everything to just focus on one thing only.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Now, do you implement that same thing with your kids? Like, did they want to do it, or did you like, nah, this is like your rite of passage, like you have to do this?
No, no, I kind of let them float around. Nowadays it's different.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We're in a totally different time period.
Yeah, it's way different.
Oh, man.
They'll be like, hold up, what? You know?
Like, Dad,
My
just
main
Roblox.
thing
I don't
for
want to kick
them
people today.
Yeah. My main thing for them really is to try to make them like gravitate them towards it versus pushing it forward onto them. You know what I'm saying? And that's like by having spaces like this where it's like, all right, you see me in here doing my thing, whatever. And next thing you know, you're just, you know, running around and playing around and you're just soaking it up without even really realizing it. And because, you know, martial arts is, it's, you know, it's, you do it forever, right? So you can rush your kids, you know what I mean? And some kids want to do that. I wanted to, you know, I was like, hey, I'm trying to be like Muhammad Ali and like Bruce Lee and Mike Tyson and like Sugar Ray Leonard and all the guys that were hot during the time that I was a kid. It's like those were the people that I was looking up to and really wanted to be like them. Even though I was a kid, I wasn't hearing any of that. You know what I'm saying? I was like, I'm trying to train like them. If they wake up early, then I wake up early before school and whatever we got to do. You know, that was just how I was as a kid. So my kids are not like that, but they, you know, I can see them gravitating towards it. And as long as like it's part of their life over the course of their lifetime, like that's kind of like what I'm more hoping for. And also playing an active part in kind of doing it in a subtle way, you know what I'm saying? And movies and all that kind of play a part into what we do as well. So
Right.
it's not like when I came up before movies we were martial artists. There was no sign of movies. There was no sign of anything. There was no sign of money. There was no sign of fame. There was no sign of anything other than, hey, we're going to be at the track at 6 a.m. with all adults. And I'm trying to be there, you know?
Okay. Now was
and that
okay. Now was Bruce Lee the one that made you want to act as well as do martial arts?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, he was the one that like I was like, I want to do what he does, you know. I want to be like Bruce Lee, basically. Like that was it. That was for real, like my big thing. And as I grew up, it continued to and still does in certain ways. But yeah, it was that. I mean, and he set the bar for me. So whenever I would look around, I was like, wait a minute, this dude is like not even close to the dude that I'm watching on the screen. This guy sucks. You know what dude, it was like, I was like, what? You suck. Look at Bruce Lee. That was like my thing, you know. I was like, it's just him or nothing. You know what I'm saying? And then I had a lot of talented people and my dad and everybody around. So it was like we were really getting to like live that out, you know. And but he was the one, and even to this day, you know, because filmmaking was part of it too. Pretty early on, we were working with like film students up in the Bay Area. You know, this was like, I don't know, 79, 80, in around there, making like 16 millimeter martial arts movies. So we were already like not Hollywood about it, but it was like, hey, we're trying to make martial arts movies even way before Hollywood, you know, on 16 millimeter with me and my dad and all of our people and doing fight scenes and all of that, you know, and that was all inspired by, you know, Bruce Lee. I mean, he was the man and it was still kind of fresh. We're talking about less than a decade. He was just around and then we were right there. So it was like right on the heels of, You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Right on the heels of my man. And so, yeah, he was definitely an inspiration. He was a filmmaker too. You know, he was an actor. It was a combination, you know, because I'm an actor, but I'm also I was a martial artist before I became an actor.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm first a martial artist, and then I got into acting. But, you know, he made his own films, right?
Mm-hmm.
He had Game of Death, and he was trying to like make his own movies. You know what I'm saying? Like he had a vision for what that was supposed to be. And, you know, and I do too, you know, and so you just kind of pursue that, you know, as time goes on. And then hopefully you get into a place where you're like, all right, this is kind of my vision of, you know, what I've spent my life doing.
Right. Now, you didn't get to work with Bruce Lee, but you got to work with Bruce Leroy.
That's right. And Bruce Lee was in the movie.
Which one?
Last Dragon.
What, the montage?
So, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. I was
in my mind,
I'm
I'm already a Bruce Lee fan.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm already Motown. Every Filipino listens to Motown. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we were Motown, and that was the time period. So it's like we already knew who Motown was. I was a huge Vanity fan.
Mm-hmm.
This is before Last Dragon was ever. She was up in my bedroom. I brought it to the Last Dragon on set, and I had her sign it. I was like, "Oh, you got to sign this."
See, kids, back in the day, there wasn't no OnlyFans. You had posters of the girls you like. Right?
Exactly. Yeah, up in your room.
Now, what was that experience like?
Yeah, that was amazing. You know what I'm saying? So it's like during that time, you know, like I said, Bruce Lee was like amazing. It just all came together at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Because we were already traveling the United States doing demonstrations. They kind of crowned, like my dad had a demonstration team called the West Coast Demo Team.
Mm-hmm.
And so we would travel all over the United States, the West Coast Demo Team, doing martial arts demonstrations. And like prior to us, martial arts demonstrations were like really serious and traditional and that kind of thing, you know. And then we brought the boom box everywhere we went. That was my dad's thing, you know, bring out the boom box, play the music. We're doing martial arts to the music. So that was like a big part of our West Coast Demo Team thing, you know, music and martial arts.
Mm-hmm.
So by the time we got to The Last Dragon, you know, we were considered, the West Coast Demo Team, considered like the Harlem Globetrotters of martial arts demonstrations. We were making entertaining and fun and bringing in the crowd and all of that. So we went over to New York and we were going to do a demonstration for Berry Gordy. And so we flew there. I was like asleep. They took us from the airport straight to Seventh Heaven. You know what I'm saying? And we're sitting in the back. I'm like back there asleep. It's like late. It's like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock in New York at that point in the West Coast. You know, I'm a little kid.
Yeah.
I'm like asleep. My dad wakes me up out of dead asleep. Ernie, get up. It's time to do a demo. Yeah, we're going right now. Berry Gordy, wake up.
Do the thing.
Do the thing.
Yeah, it's time to dance, boy. So we put on the boombox, played the music, did our demo, and then that was it. You know, he wrote us into the movie, and that was amazing. It was an amazing experience because it was all martial arts, it was all music, it was Berry Gordy, it was Motown, it was Vanity, it was Bruce Lee was in the movie too, because that was the thing. Is like he was already passed away almost a decade at that point, right? A decade or so. And that was my hero. And the first movie out the gates, I was in a movie. Either way, I was in a movie that he was in, whether it was footage that they licensed or not. It was like that was part of the whole feel of the movie was Bruce Lee. Those montages were some of the hottest parts of it, with him watching his hero up on the screen or whatever. There was like layers upon layers of how that resonated to me in real life. And I was in the movie.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so we were in New York, and it was just the early days of hip hop and everything. We were just right finger on the pulse of the whole thing. You know what I'm saying? So it was an amazing experience. And Motown was the first company that signed me, you know, as, talent. And they went on to develop a TV series with Disney called The Last Electric Night, where I fought my boy War Machine.
Yeah. Beat up Don Cheadle for no reason. Damn. Now you've done a lot of movies. Now, is there a part of you that would take a role where you didn't hit people? Because I feel like every time I see your name pop up or I see you pop up on screen, I'm like, somebody's getting smacked. There's no Shakespearean going on with Ernie. Like, he's going to roundhouse somebody.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the thing is, you know, after Surf Ninjas, which is like early 90s, right?
I wore that fucking tape out. Jesus Christ.
Working consistently since I was a young kid, you know, even before Hollywood, right? So then I hit like my early 20s. It's like the early 90s or whatever. And I was like, all right, here's my body of work, whatever. I'm kind of a martial artist, personality type or whatever. You know, but now I'm in my early 20s. I went to high school in Hollywood. Like, there's a whole different landscape at that point, right? So then I was like, nah, I'm not trying to be just like the Karate Kid, whatever. I want like dope roles because things were changing too. Early 90s, independent filmmaking came out, Reservoir Dogs, shit like that was popping off. You know what I'm saying? I was like, I want to do some shit like that. That's with Robert Rodriguez. I'm gonna fuck you up type shit, not some like Ninja Turtles like type shit. I want to hardcore shit. You know what I'm saying? That was like my mindset, right? But so I got into the theater and was, you know, became, you know, an actor, basically like a real actor. So that nobody really saw me do any movies since Surf Ninjas. The next thing that people really saw me in was The Rundown. And at that point, like, there was a whole different thing. Like, it wasn't just like, oh, I can do martial arts, but like I was holding my own as an actor with, you know, other people speaking a whole different language that I don't speak. And I was comfortable knowing like, I'm not going to play myself out, you know, because that can happen real easy. Like, oh, you got martial arts skills or whatever. Then you get a real fucking acting role and you can't really deliver because that's not transferable. Just because you're a master in martial arts doesn't mean you're a master as an actor. You know, it doesn't just all translate because you're great at one thing. I'm great at everything. No, you have to start off as a white belt in this new thing that you're trying to gain some sort of mastery in and work your way up, you know? And so by that point, it was like 15 years later from Surf Ninjas to The Rundown, and I had gained that skill, you know, where it's like, oh yeah, I could do movies with a Christopher Walken or a whoever, and I'm not like feeling uncomfortable. I'm feeling like I'm gonna eat up anybody who gets on the screen with me, you know? And that's like the mindset that I had by the time I got to The Rundown. I was like, they'll never be able to handle me now. So I got real acting in my back pocket, you know what I'm saying?
Thespian.
Yeah. And it all is craft, you know, martial arts, whatever it is, it's all craft. People could be lucky and be at the right time at the right place, and you need to know this person, and it's who you know, and yeah, but it's also just being great at what you do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? As the first thing, you know, and so, you know, that's what that led me was, okay, it's time to up my value as what I do by actually gaining some real skills and real knowledge. Hang on one second.
Yep.
Hello?
Hi.
Hey, what's up?
Are you near a McDonald's?
Yeah, I'm doing a podcast. Let me call you back in like 10 or 15. At 3 minutes, I'll call you back. You're on the podcast right now. Our conversation. I'll call you back in like 15 minutes. Bruh.
Ernie, have my son get your number.
Oh man, that's funny. Now, I'm gonna let you go in a little bit. I just got a few more questions. Okay. Now, to take it back a little bit, you know, you got The Last Dragon, Red Sonja, Surf Ninjas, and stuff like that. I'm a big Turtles fan, so I got a few Turtles questions for you, right? So, your first introduction to the Turtles, you actually weren't on screen, but you were on screen. You were in the whole Jim Henson bodysuit thing.
Yeah.
And the rumor, well, not rumors I hear about that, but things I hear about that is them suits were extremely hot. People lost up to 75 pounds in those suits. It was really hard to move, but you made it look so goddamn flawless being Donatello that I couldn't tell the difference as like a 6-year-old until I found out like, oh shit, their heads come off. Oh shit, there's people in there. Now, how was that experience working with the Turtles? Well, Turtles 1, I want to say.
Yeah, the Turtles 1 was pretty cool. That was like in between. So we did Sidekicks. We had that TV series that only ran for 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a gap there. Again, like I think that was like I was probably like 86, 87, in and around there. So there was like 3 years where I was in high school, just being in high school, playing ball, just chilling, like having fun. And then Ninja Turtles 1 came around, and so my first experience was flying out to London to Jim Henson's like creature shop, you know, fully like, you know, they fully, we got a nightclub back there.
We're just all sitting here acting like we didn't notice.
I'm like, hold up.
Somebody could beat your ass. They can do whatever they want in the background.
I was gonna say, so yeah, it was pretty crazy, you know. And going over there, they basically do a full body cast of you, you know. And then we filmed in North Carolina, Wilmington, and it was crazy, man. It was super cool though. Like I was in between my junior and senior year of high school. Let me shut that up. Hang on a second.
Very distracting. Too many colors. As soon as I mentioned Ninja Turtles, all the colors will pop up.
Yeah,
green.
I thought it was the camera.
Purple. It's a rave going on.
I thought it was the camera. I was like,
Yeah, Vanilla Ice back there.
Yeah, so I was gonna say it was yeah, it was cool because, you know, New Line Cinema, it was, you know, it was their early days. They had like Freddy Krueger, Nightmare on Elm Street. Like that was pretty much like their franchise at the time. So it was like definitely indie filmmaking. It was like the #1 independent movie of all time for like decades before whatever took it down. So like we were in the zone of indie. We were making an indie film, and Golden Harvest, which was the company that I grew up watching their martial arts movies, Bruce Lee, Jet Li, Jackie Chan, they were the production company. So it wasn't just Jim Henson, it was Jim Henson and the dudes the company that, you know, made all the movies that I grew up watching, all my heroes. So that was like a different combination, right? You had somebody who knew the martial arts, a company that knew the martial arts genre inside and out, and we're just making a martial arts movie. Like, yeah, we're making a martial arts movie though. So we already knew like quality and level of martial arts was going to be like top notch. But like being in the costume, it was crazy. It was like if I was Arnold Schwarzenegger, but like my latex. Basically, it's like a Nerf football.
Yeah.
Imagine a Nerf football and then soaking it in water. And then how heavy it is because it holds all the water, you know, right? All day long. When I say all day, like 12, 14, 15, 16-hour days. And your job is just to do action all day.
Right.
Like, hey, this is dope. Like, there's no two ways around it. Like, this is dope. Like, I've had been in enough films and television where you're like, I don't know if this movie's gonna be that good. You know what I'm saying? Or you're like, damn, I hope nobody sees this. But this one, you knew like, oh, this is tight, and it's like low budget, meaning like there's a lot of creativity that happens when you're constrained. You know, you have limitations. You have to try to figure out ways of doing things, and then it creates a different kind of feeling when you watch the film, you know, because of those limitations. So it was just something that you knew, man, this is gonna be like super dope. It came out and it was like mega
Explosion.
hit. Kids were being caught, like kids were like going down into the sewers, in fucking manholes, like, you know, it was wild.
I ended up being okay. That wasn't a big deal.
Now, did they want you back for Turtles 2 so bad, but you was like, nah, I'm not getting that fucking suit. Y'all gotta write me in it as a character.
Now, the producers from Golden Harvest, that was really their thing. You know, they had met me. They came from Hong Kong. This was like their first American production. You know, prior to that, there was not a single Hong Kong stuntman that had worked on American movies. So it was the first time they were bringing these Hong Kong stuntmen over to America and to do work on an American production. And at that time, you know, late 80s was all about the Hong Kong. Like they were up above, a notch above when it came to the fight scenes and stunts and what Jackie Chan was doing, especially in the 80s. It was like crazy.
Like the blood sports and all the movies and stuff.
Yeah. And the thing is they don't have unions out there. There's no safety guys. Like, well, that's kind of dangerous. They're just like, hey, you know, for a bowl of rice, you're going to jump on this building. There are no pads. You know what I mean? You're like, yeah.
Better catch this.
And guys, yeah, ready to do it, you know? So this is the first time that they are bringing on these Hong Kong stunt guys to like an American production. One of the guys hurt his back, you know, in pre-production, and that's how I got put on. And so when we were, you know, doing the thing, they got to know me. They saw that I'm like, you know, I'm originally from the Bay Area, but I've lived here in LA basically from like middle school. And so I was just a normal kid, you know, that could do the martial arts and hang with the Hong Kong stunt guys. And so by the end of this, the first movie, they had told me like, hey, we're going to write you into, you know, the second film and, you know, as a character. And at the time I was like, that's dope. I was just thinking that'd be cool. It'll be a little thing, a scene, maybe hopefully a fight scene or something. And I just was like, went on my way. The movie came out as a huge hit. And then like a few months later, I got the script and they were like, consider the role of Kino. And then I opened it up and started reading and I was like, damn, I'm in this whole movie.
This whole thing.
And
who the fuck is Vanilla Ice?
No, Vanilla Ice wasn't in it originally.
Oh, he wasn't?
I met the writer of the script for the first time like a couple of weeks ago, Todd Langdon. And cool dude. And he told me, he was like, yeah, before the Vanilla Ice came in, he was like, your character was even bigger. You had a love romance. And I was like, what? I was like, man, my dog took all these scenes away from me. But yeah, it was kind of cool to meet him. He had a lot of like backstory about just the whole process that I had never heard before. And he had never done any kind of panel or anything. So it was cool talking to him. Okay.
Now, a question that I had about Turtles 2 that I've never seen anywhere. I haven't seen anyone talk about it, even in a bunch of your interviews. The junkyard scene, right? When you were trying to get into the Foot Clan, right?
Yeah.
When you guys met up outside and the extras that are in the back, was there like a requirement for them to be martial artists as well?
Well, you know Mike Jai White's in that scene, right?
That's what I was about to say. So the story is, right, you know, I'm at the movies, like I said, big Turtles fan, right? So we watching the movie, the junkyard scene comes up, right? I'm watching it with my mother, and my mother goes, I think I know him. I'm like, Ma, you know Kino? She was like, nah, I think I know the guy behind him. So Michael Jai White is a guy that's from my city, and he's an extra in that movie. So I was like, I've never seen anyone talk. I've never heard Michael talk about it. So
he has.
He has?
Yeah, on Black.
Yeah, so I was like, is that Michael Jai White back there? I was like, if my mom knows him, she probably went to school. And I was like, oh, shit. Now, you know, I knew it was possible to get out of Bridgeport and actually do something.
Yeah. And he's gone on to do, a lot of good things.
A lot.
I know Michael for years. Not since then. I really didn't know that until somebody had pointed that out to me. Like,
I want to be the first. Fuck.
I've seen Mike in the martial arts community and a lot of the people that he had trained with, Benny Urquidez and Bill the Superfoot Wallace and people like that. But yeah, good guy.
Yeah, good guy. Now, I'm gonna let you go in a second. I just want to know one thing about MMA. How'd you hook up with Nate Diaz?
I was actually promoting the first time. Well, first of all, I'm from California. I'm from San Jose originally. I'm from San Jose. So we're all right there. They're in Stockton, San Jose. That's like an hour and a half drive. And, the martial arts community in all of California has always been hot before MMA, kickboxing, everything. Even when Muay Thai first got here, so everybody knows everybody. And I always was rocking with them, both the Diaz brothers, from early on, without even really knowing them, but also being behind the scenes in a lot of like the fight promotions, Strike Force and companies like that are from the Bay Area. I would see, Nick doing press conferences and things like that. And it was just like, kind of a breath of fresh air, even though the sport was really new. Competitive martial arts has been around for a long time, and most people kind of like acted a certain way. You know what I mean? It was expected of like, hey, everybody here is martial artists, and so we all need to act a certain way. And these guys were like, keeping it real to what their whole thing was, and I loved it. And so I'd always been rocking with them. I promoted an MMA event in San Jose. And one of the NDA team members, Lucas, was fighting on the card, and we ran into each other at the weigh-ins, chopped it up briefly, and then we just kind of hooked up a couple years later, and we started talking about training, started training together and working together, and then we just started doing that more and more and more, and we've been, super tight for like over the last 5 years or so.
Okay, dope. Love to see it. Now, this Zoom is about to shut off, so hopefully I can get my outro out before you actually, get kicked off. I want to say, like I said before, you're my childhood icon. You're my Bruce Lee. All right. I appreciate you for coming on the show. Glad you're doing well. Hope you have a very happy and safe holiday. Hope your son gets well soon. Do you have any parting words for the dojo? Do you have anything coming up? You want to plug your social media? Any fights coming up? Anything?
Yeah, no, not really. I mean, everybody can follow me at Ernie Reyes Jr. On all platforms. But yeah, I just thanks for rocking with me and staying persistent and making this happen. I really do like to get out and reach out to the people that have been rocking with me, because a lot of people that I've met either through events or whatever have been like with me since like the Last Dragon. You know what I'm saying? And that's a long time. So I appreciate the love, and I wish everybody positivity as well for the holidays and beyond.
Well, we thank you for coming on the show, man. I personally really appreciate it, but I know we all appreciate it as well.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Thank you. I thank you guys. I appreciate it, man. Keep doing your guys' thing.
All right.
Thank you, man. Have a good one.
All right, you too.